Hello, my viewers. Welcome to the Lifestyle Tips with yours truly, Christine. For those that are joining me for the first time, I want to say welcome. And for those that have been following my previous videos, I can't thank you enough for your continued support. Now, for those who may not know, I share lifestyle tips from different reputable magazines, like the magazine I have today, which is the Men's Magazine. All right. Now, if you want a copy of this, you have to go online and find out more details on how you can subscribe, or you can find it on any stand depending on which country you're at, right? So for today's topic, I'm gonna be sharing tips that have to do with children's health, but more specifically, it has to do with dads and the young ones, right? Okay. So reading into the topic, I'm gonna be sharing 8 lessons all dads should know. So I hope all the dads out there are ready. Make yourself comfortable. Let's roll. Okay, so I'm gonna quote the magazine here, and I might slightly chat into every point here based on my understanding of it. So tip number one, words are valuable. So let's find out how. Speak up. Your kid is listening. In families with two working parents, fathers have a greater impact on their children's language development by age 3 than mothers do, according to a study in the Journal of Applied Development Psychology. Provide a creative, dramatic play-by-play of the activities you're engaged in and your surrounding. Use big words, even if they're unfamiliar to your kid. Children learn a lot by context. All right, so this is pretty obvious. I'm not gonna say so much about it, but yeah, my understanding of it here is that words are really important when you're communicating with your child, and I think it's important. I think we're gonna use positive words, right? And yeah, I think I'm not gonna talk so much into that. All right, so number two, tantrums earn you nothing, and let's find out more about that. When your when your anxiety visibly rises, you add fuel to the fire, says Hal Edward Rockel, a family therapist and author of Screen Free Parenting. And if you simply hand over a piece of candy, you encourage more bad behavior. Instead, when your kid starts shouting, be calm and attentive. Don't ignore it. These signals show that you will not be rattled and the child won't win. Ever. It may not work for the first tantrum, warns Raquel, but it's magic by the fifth. All right? So, dear dads out there, the thing I like about these tips, they can actually, even though they're focusing on the dads, but this can also apply to mothers as well. But yeah, for the dads that take time to spend time with your little ones, I think these are tips that I think are important, right? So don't fall for the tantrums and don't buy into the tantrums. That's my understanding of that tip. All right, so tip number 3, competition leads to confidence. Children as young as 4 start to compete with their parents. Wow, let's find out how. Sprinting to the car, wrestling on the sofa, stuff like that. Roll with it. Let them win a lot. And then slowly ramp it up so they have to work harder for their victories. It's a way for children to develop a sense of strength and let them test their muscles, says Justin Richardson, MD, who teaches psychiatry at Columbia University. They will start to walk more confidently and be less of a mark for bullies. All right? So competition is a good thing, dads out there. Starting up a little bit of competition and getting them into that competitive spirit, I think, is not a bad thing at all. Okay, number 4, quitting is hard. When When his son wanted to quit baseball at age 8, Raquel says to him, "Sure, but you have to tell your teammates and coach." The boy couldn't do it. He's played for 7 years since. Show kids the pain of quitting, and they won't make those kinds of decisions lightly, Raquel says. If your kid says a school project is too hard and that he wants to give up, that's okay, says Raquel, but tell your teacher you're quitting, and that will take whatever grade is appropriate. Trust me, he will stick it out. All right. So that's again pretty obvious. If sometimes the kid might be disappointed with their performances depending on what kind of games or sports they might be interested in, and sometimes they may want to quit. I mean, it makes sense. Like, who wants to lose? Nobody wants to lose. But then at the same time, you want to encourage that spirit of not giving up on anything if it becomes too hard. It's always my understanding is that it's good to encourage the kids to have that fighting spirit even when things are not going their way. Okay. All right. Number 5, other people's feelings matter. And let's find out more about that. It's easier to connect with others if you understand their perspective. So nurture that instinct in your child. Start with the child's own feelings. Say, man, it must be hard being 8 years old. What's the hardest part? Suggests Raquel. Then mention people your kid knows that are having a hard time. Say, a friend whose dad lost his job. Ask what he thinks it's like for that friend. They won't always have an answer, but they are thinking about it, Raquel said. All right, I think this is a key element in letting children get a better understanding of what other people's feelings might be. We don't You don't want them to be selfish kind of kids, thinking just about their feelings. I think it's important to relate, to have relate on how other people's perspective, or how other people might feel about certain situations that the kid might be in, or depending, right? Okay, so number 6, fights can be resolved. And again, I'm gonna quote into more details. Unless one kid is dangling the other out of the window, don't say a word. This is a good one. As soon as you become involved, they no longer care about a solution. They'll only try drafting you on their side, says child psychologist Anthony Wolf, PhD, the author of Mom, Jason's Breathing on Me. The solution is sibling bickering. The solution to sibling bickering: if they pester you, say your solution will be bad for both of them. They will learn that pleading is fruitless. More important, they'll learn to quickly compromise. Now, when it comes to this point, I think for all parents who have more than one child, I think we're all familiar, or if you've grown up with sisters and brothers, we're all familiar with sibling rivalry. It's not Hmm. It's a it can be a tough situation when you have two siblings or two children that are fighting with each other, and as a parent you're trying not to take sides, but you want them to come up with solutions. So I think this is a neat idea to let them be able to resolve their own problems, find solutions to their problems, and not always get you drawn into it, especially when they get a little older, right? So I think I like this tip. Okay, number 7, independence is earned, and let's find out how. When your kids ask to stay late at a friend's house, ask what time would work for them. Then ask them why. If you don't hear a good answer, it's okay to say no. If you do it, try. If you do, try it, says Pennsylvania-based psychologist Janet Edgett, a psychiatric doctor. When parents give children freedom and responsibility, studies show that the children develop stronger morals more quickly. All right. So there we go with the independence. Goes back to, it kind of reminds me when children want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do that, because I'm grown up, because I'm this and that. I think this is a neat tips that you gotta let them understand that if you want to go ahead and take on this kind of responsibility, you have to earn it. You got to show that you're responsible enough. You got to show that you're in charge. You got to show that you're in control in order for you to be given that kind of independence or freedom. And it just doesn't happen. So you have to earn it. So I think this is a good point, right? It's good for them to have that freedom or that independence, but they gotta prove that they can use the responsibility of freedom independently. I mean, responsibly. Okay, and our last tip, which is number 8, success requires focus. And let's find out how. Maybe you don't wish for a prodigy, but our competitive society suggests otherwise. That's why so many kids have trouble focusing, says C.D. Andrew Ramsey, MD, psychiatry professor at Columbia University. Make sure your kids know your expectations. Celebrate improvement first, and then explain the value of slow mastery. Whether your kids love Tom Brady or Beyonce, let them know what these people let them know that these people succeeded because they mastered one skill, says Dr. Ramsey. Learn to go through one door and many others will open for you. Try to go through five try to go through 5 doors at once and you will go nowhere. All right. So yeah, so again, I love this point because I mean the children are a lot of most kids are glued, they are glued to TV, they're glued to media, social media, and they kind of adore or even worship a lot of they have that these idol stars or celebrities or musicians or artists that they adore. So it's important, even if they are so crazy about an artist, I think we gotta let them not just enjoy what this artist is about, but also get to understand what it takes for that kind of artist to get to where they are, right? It's not just a matter of being popular. They've worked at it, they focused, and that's why they're excellent at it. I love that point. Anyways, that's been it for you, my viewers. I hope you find these tips helpful. I'm just gonna sum them up real quick for you, just in case you wanna follow through. So the number one tip is words are valuable. So we gotta remember that. Number 2, tantrums earn you nothing. Number 3, competition leads to confidence. Number 4, quitting is hard. Number 5, other people's feelings matter. Number 6, fights can be resolved. Number 7, independence is earned. And lastly, number 8, success requires focus. As always, it's been a pleasure sharing these tips with you. Now, please don't forget to, if you find today's tips valuable, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. If you want to keep getting more my videos, I post every other 1 or 2 days. Please don't forget to subscribe, or you can follow me on Google Plus. All if you find these tips useful, please don't forget to share them with your friends. As always, I've been your host, Christine. I want to say once again, happy Family Day to all my Canadian viewers. Until our next video, cheers.